Hi guys, it's Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and I am here today to give another character breakdown. And this character is, I don't know if she's underrated or not. I think her as a character is not, but I think her story is, if that makes sense. It's kind of like Colossus. Everyone knows Colossus, but do you really know his story? Because if you want to, I just released an episode about him, so there's my shameless plug for the day. So, we're going to talk about Squirrel Girl. Who is Squirrel Girl? What is her deal? What is the deal with the tail? What is the deal with the squirrels? So, Doreen first appeared in Marvel Superheroes Volume 2, number 8, in November of 1991 and was created by Will Murray and Steve Ditko. Doreen Green was born to Dorian and Maureen Green, which is a wild sentence to say. And for reasons no one could ever really explain, her genes were altered, giving her squirrel like powers and most notably a really big tail. When her parents took her to the doctor, they were told she was not a mutant, even though Doreen believed she was for a really long time. When Doreen was 10, she discovered she could actually talk to squirrels after overhearing one chatting outside her window. She ended up saving that squirrel from a dog, and the two became best friends. The squirrel introduced itself as Monkey Joe and encouraged Doreen to use her powers to help people. From that moment on, Doreen started daydreaming about becoming a superhero and came up with the name the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. At 14, Doreen decided to make her big hero debut by ambushing Iron Man in a forest near Stark Enterprises, hoping to impress him enough to become his sidekick. Iron Man wasn't exactly wowed and politely turned her down. But then Doctor Doom showed up when a massive aircraft attacked them. Doom captured Iron Man and planned to kill him over the Pacific Ocean, completely underestimating Squirrel Girl and leaving her alone. Using her squirrel communication powers, Doreen called out through an open door as the ship flew over the forest, and hundreds of squirrels swarmed the ship, chewing through wires, overwhelming Doom. Iron Man was freed, Doom was defeated, and the two heroes went their separate ways. Not long after turning 15, Doreen helped the Hulk, who was crashed unconscious near her treehouse during a fight with the Abomination. Hulk had suffered a concussion that left him blind, so he reluctantly accepted Squirrel Girl's help. While her squirrels swarmed Abomination, Doreen guided Hulk's movements, helping him land punches and dodge attacks until the villain was knocked out. Later, Squirrel Girl moved to New York City, where they all end up going. While stopping a crime in Central Park, she rescued the Great Lake Avengers from some muggers, and they invited her to join her team. Not long after, she witnessed the death of Grasshopper, which deeply frightened her, but she refused to quit. With the help of her squirrel army, she played a key role in stopping Maelstrom from destroying the world. Doreen insisted that Monkey Joe be recognized as an official member of the team, but he was soon killed by Doctor Doom in an act of revenge. That was later revealed that Leather Boy, a rejected GLA member wearing a Doom costume. Doreen later befriended another squirrel, the only one of her army to survive Maelstrom's attack, and named her Tippy Toe. Squirrel Girl and Tippy Toe went on to individually defeat major villains like MODOK, Terrax, and even Thanos. Owatu the Watcher confirmed that the Thanos she beat was the real deal, not a clone or copy. After MODOK's defeat, Dum Dum Dugan offered Doreen a job with S.H.I.E.L.D., saying they'd been monitoring her and considered her one of the most effective supervillain takers ever. Doreen turned it down, saying she was happy with the Great Lakes Avengers. While hanging out with the squirrels in Central Park one day, Doreen stumbled onto the Thing fighting Beast. She excitedly introduced herself as a fan, mentioning that she even owned a Thing lunchbox and had her squirrels gather the smelliest garbage they could find. The stench forced Beast to cover both noses, leaving him wide open for the Thing to knock out. After winning a poker game, the Great Lake Avengers renamed themselves the Great Lakes Champions and registered under the Superhuman Registration Act the very day it went into effect. Deadpool, assuming they weren't registered, attacked their headquarters to impress the government. Squirrel Girl defeated him in combat, with Deadpool's confusion over her name and appearance playing a big role in his loss. A few months later, Deadpool teamed up with the GLA to stop AIM, AIM, agents who had kidnapped Dionysus and built a ray that made almost every superhero on Earth drunk. Afterward, Deadpool stuck around the team's government funded HQ as a reserve member, even though he was like really one of the biggest problems for the Great Lakes Avengers. So, Doreen was a huge fan of the New Warriors, especially Speedball, who is Robbie Baldwin, whom she had a huge crush on. When she learned he'd become the darker hero Penance, she traveled to Thunderbolt's Mountain to try to convince him to lighten up. When that failed, she went to Latveria and tried to use one of Doctor Doom's time machines to prevent Speedball from becoming Penance at all. Instead, she ended up in the future, met an alternate Speedball, and was told by Mr. Immortal that her real task was kicking Deadpool out of the Great Lakes Initiative's HQ. During the Squirrel invasion, Squirrel Girl and the GLI exposed their new recruit, Grasshopper, and as a Skrull infiltrator. After the invasion, they welcomed Gravity to the team when he relocated from Nevada to Wisconsin. Eventually, Doreen realized her teammates were holding back because she was so capable of beating villains on her own. After defeating Fin Fang Foom, while the rest of the team casually played poker back at HQ, she left the GLI and went solo, returning to New York City shortly after. She did this because she felt she was holding them back. In reality, she was most likely the thing that was pushing them forward. Doreen later became the nanny for Danielle Cage and lived in Avengers Mansion with the new Avengers. She protected Danielle through several major events, including the Serpent's invasion. When Luke Cage left the team, Doreen followed him and Jessica Jones since she was still caring for their child. After leaving Luke and Jessica, Doreen secretly lived in the Avengers Mansion attic until she enrolled at Empire State University. On her first day, she met her future best friend, Nancy Whitehead, and Nancy's cat, Mew. Around this time, Doreen also confronted Kraven the Hunter and convinced him to abandon his obsession with Spider-Man. One of her biggest feats at ESU was stopping Galactus by befriending him and directing him to a moon covered in nut-bearing trees that satisfied his hunger. While at ESU, Doreen developed a crush on Tomas Lara Perez, who turned out to be the superhero Chipmunk Hunk. He and his partner, Koi Boy, became close friends and allies of Squirrel Girl. In her second year of college, Doreen joined Sunspot's New Avengers, which later became the U.S. Avengers when Sunspot began working with S.H.I.E.L.D. She helped reform the villain Brain Drain, confronted Doctor Doom in the past, stopped Enigmo from taking over the United States. She was briefly mentored by the entrepreneur Melissa Morbeck, who even gave her a flying suit, though it turned out to be part of a larger world domination scheme, as they usually do. In the Savage Land, Doreen teamed up with Kraven to defeat a version of Ultron, fully turning Kraven the Hunter into an ally. At one point, Doreen studied Doombot technology by examining Vincent Doonan in exchange for spending time with Gwenpool. The two later teamed up to rescue Gwen's brother Teddypool from Mephisto's realm. Gwenpool later spoke fondly of this during Doreen's funeral, which occurred after a Skrull faked her death. During the War of the Realms, Doreen was sent by Loki on a secret mission to protect North America from frost giants. She teamed up with Ratatoskr and ultimately drove the frost giants back to Jotunheim by sparking a political revolution against their rulers. Not long after, Melissa Morbeck escaped prison and took revenge by exposing Doreen's secret identity and blowing up her apartment. Doreen and her allies were lured into Central Park, where Melissa, now calling herself Iron Ring, took control of Iron Man's armor and revealed she'd allied with many villains Doreen and previously defeated, including Doctor Doom. The battle escalated, with Avengers arriving and villains receiving Iron Man suits. When Galactus learned of the fight, he brought many of the villains Doreen had reformed to her aid. Doreen nearly died shielding a bomb planted by Doom, but Galactus personally ended the fight, imprisoning the villains at Doreen's request. Moving forward, Doreen chose to fully embrace her public identity, deciding it was the most honest way to live. And ever since then, the last time we saw Doreen was during the One World Under Doom event, where she was on the Avengers side to take down Doom, who was World Emperor. And that event is still kind of going with Dungeons of Doom, but we don't see her in it. So that is the last time I saw her. And that is Doreen Green, who is Squirrel Girl. She's a very she's a goofy character, but she's a fun character. She's a lot of fun. If you don't know her, you'll like her. I've never really cared for her, not because of who she is as a character. It's just I don't know. When I was first introduced to her, it was in the Great Lakes Avengers, who I had a hard time taking them personally. So I think that biasness just kind of sat there forever. But I'm warming up to her. So yeah, that's Squirrel Girl. If you did not know about her, I'm glad you made it to the end of this video because now you do. So be sure to like and subscribe. And if you are interested in seeing your favorite character being broken down, just let me know in the comments because I love doing these. With that being said, have a marvelous day.